আপনি কি বয়স্ক পিতামাতা ও গুরুজনদের দৈনিক সেবা নিয়ে চিন্তিত? ভাববার কোনো কারণ নেই। সিনিয়র মাল্টি সার্ভিস ইনক আপনাকে দেবে বয়স্ক সেবার সকল সমাধান। আপনি কি বয়স্কদের সেবা করছেন? তাহলে আপনার সময়ের মূল্য হবে উপযুক্ত পারিশ্রমিক। 𝐸 ইনক স্বল্প মূল্যে বাড়ির দৈনিক কাজকর্মে যে কোনো ধরনের বয়স্ক সেবা দিতে সদা প্রস্তুত। নিউ ইয়র্ক স্টেটের বয়স্ক ও অক্ষম বাসিন্দাদের আস্থা 𝐸 ইনক এর পূর্ণ ব্যবস্থা। বিস্তারিত জানতে কল করুন 3477785252।
Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome to the 18th episode of the Friday Night Real Talk at channel TT.TV. This is Nazrul Haq, and you can join us live at Roku TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Just type in channel TT.TV. Viewers, this show is brought to you by 𝐸 Inc., New York State বয়স্কদের আস্থা 𝐸 Inc. এর পূর্ণ ব্যবস্থা। Please call 347-778-5252 if you need help from 𝐸 Inc. to help your senior. Gentlemen, channel TT.TV also, you can join us in the website, and also you can log in and connect us. Share your page with your Facebook so other can view us. We have a great show in this evening, ladies and gentlemen, with the great guest, outstanding guest we have. Please welcome Mr. William Rivera. He is the District Manager of Community Board 9, which is our Rochester area. He's also an ex-firefighter. Please welcome Mr. Rivera. And also we're going to have later virtually connected Muhammad N. Majumdar. He is also a first Vice Chair for Community Board 9. He's also a candidate for City Council 18, District 18, as we know before. And later on, we're also going to try to connect, hopefully, Dr. Mutahar Ahmed. He's also going to discuss about the latest update about our vaccination. And here is few more highlight for our callers who can call us, and I'm really ask everyone to join us and discuss. We're going to talk about mostly in the homelessness, which is the গৃহহীনতা আশ্রয় কেন্দ্রগুলো কিভাবে ব্রঞ্জ কমিউনিটি বোর্ডের 9 এর পরিবেশকে প্রভাবিত করছে। আমাদের কমিউনিটি বোর্ড 9 এর পারিবারিক সহিংসতা বৃদ্ধির জন্য কি কি দায়ী হতে পারে এ নিয়ে আমরা আলোচনা করব। পাশাপাশি কমিউনিটি বোর্ড 9 এর দীর্ঘমেয়াদী পরিকল্পনা প্রোগ্রামটি কি, এবং এই প্রোগ্রামে এই পর্যন্ত এর মাধ্যমে কি কি আমরা অর্জন করতে পেরেছি। কমিউনিটি বোর্ডের যে আমাদের এলাকার যে জননিরাপত্তা এবং জনপথের অপরাধকে নিয়ন্ত্রণ করার জন্য কমিউনিটি বোর্ড 9 কি করছে, আমরা কিভাবে বা কমিউনিটি 9-এ ইনভলভ হতে পারি তার প্রসেস এবং আলোচনা করব। সর্বশেষে থাকবে ব্রাইডেন প্রশাসনের অধীনে প্যান্ডেমিক পরিক্রমা নিয়ে আলোচনা, কি টিকা সহ বিভিন্ন ব্যাপারে আপডেট, এবং আমাদের ডেমোক্রেট পরিচালিত সরকার বা সংখ্যাগরিষ্ঠ সরকার কি অবৈধ অভিবাসীদের জন্য অ্যামনেস্টি আনবেন, আমরা কি কি আশা করতে পারি, এই সব কিছু নিয়ে আমরা আলোচনা করব। দর্শক, আমাদেরকে কল দিবেন 646-377-9179 এবং আমাদের এই পেজটা শেয়ার করবেন। সো without further ado, please welcome Mr. Rivera. How you feeling?
Good. Thank you for having
family?
me.
Everybody good?
Everything's
Fine,
good.
family?
Enjoying the cold weather outside.
And I believe you have opportunity to have the vaccine already?
Not yet. I've been tested and I have the antibodies still.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately, I had COVID in April, but we're doing good now.
So we hear you know, a lot of people in our viewers in for Community Board 9, and I'm glad you're here, and we're going to talk a lot about it. And before we go little issue, I just want to know what is the process that when you the community board, the member comes from the community. What is the process that you get your member? What is the due process? Is it an election involved, or is a selection involved, or how this works? How whoever our viewers, if they're any interested to get involved, what is the process?
The Bronx Borough President, who's Ruben Diaz Jr., he's the one that appoints the board members in our community board. There's 51 board members. That could be up to 51 in our community board. 26 are appointed by the borough president, 25 are appointed by the council member. And the final say is the borough president. You have to fill out an application. The application is processed actually right now. So you go online to the Bronx Borough President's website or just Google Bronx Community Board application. You could print it out and send it in and save a copy just in case it gets lost. And they'll do an interview process. And if during the interview process, if you get selected, you'll get a letter from the borough president saying that you're appointed. You go through orientation, and then you come to your first board meeting, and then you get to see me.
That's good. It sounds very simple, but then what is the requirement? I mean, is anybody can do it, and what are you looking for?
Right now, they allow 16 and 17-year-olds, the youth members. You have to live, work, or have a special interest in the community board, which is the largest board in the Bronx, over 200,000 people, and Parkchester's in the community board. So anybody interested could apply. You're either going to get appointed, or a letter says, unfortunately, you weren't appointed, and then you could apply again. Your term is for 2 years, up to 8 years. The city council and the moratorium, the residents voted in the last primaries, the last general election for the city, that the max term is 8 years. So starting last year, up to 8 years, and then after that, you can't be a community board member. You have to come back. So it's a great opportunity.
So wait a minute. So what is there's a term limit for that? What is
there's term limits now for community board members.
How many years can?
8 years max.
And after 8 years, the person cannot stay there anymore.
I think you have to
sit
out.
Is it a new rule, or
Yes.
it's always been like this?
It's
Because I know
rule.
there's a community member for years.
Oh, well, there's some board members 30, 40 years, and some boards 20 years. But now, on the last citywide election for the city, the residents voted that they want term limits for community board members for 8 years.
Is it a matter like where you live, or is it matter where you from, or what you look like? Is it ethnicity, language? Is any of this make factor when you select?
No, and we're all equal. So whoever wants to be a community board member is based
So
on.
you don't really care how many Spanish people have to be there, how many African American, or how many Bangladeshi should be there. It doesn't matter.
No, it's the borough president's decision.
No, but is it a criteria?
But they don't factor ethnicity into criteria. I think that's illegal.
Yeah, that was my.
Yeah, it was based on your experience and what you could bring to the community board. Naturally, our board is diverse. We have people from the Bangladesh community, African American community, Latino community. So it's a diverse board, men, female, all ages. So LGBT community. So it's a diverse board naturally. We could myself and board members give recommendations. But it's ultimately the council member and the borough president who screen applications, interview, and appoint the board members. And then they go through the orientation where they learn about community board rules, and then they come to their first board meeting.
So do you think, I heard some rumor there is a favoritism work when the selection process go. So even though they're final word, but do you think the process is really duly followed by some guideline? Or just like who knows who?
That's a good question. Every borough president has their own way of selecting boards, even though there's a uniform process. But at the end of the day, the borough president is the one who selects the board members, and whatever their internal criteria based on the number of board members that are on the board, based on how many in a particular area. Like, we don't want all the board members to be from Parkchester. We want board members to be spread out in the district. But that's always been for debate on the process of community board members being selected. It was debated in the city council. I know Richie Torres brought some things up for participation in more younger people. They wanted to look at the process. But right now, I think the only significant change is term limits. You can't have more than 8 years. And still, the borough president selects the community board members.
Still a good progress.
When I was a board member, I became a board member in 2010, I believe. I waited 7 years. And I was frustrated. And I applied for the community board every year. And then finally in my 7th year, I got appointed. So it could be frustrating for people who want to be on the board and they wait a long time. I could.
Is that technically the board member is really representing the community? Is it technically is a representation,
Yes,
right?
as a board member, yeah.
So do you think it'll be idea or somebody, some legislator should be bring up, why not put them on the ballot eventually? They can be part of it and select, like whoever running for election, borough president, he can have his selection on the ballot. So this way, community have opportunity to elect their representation. Do you think it's the idea?
It's an idea that it might be some challenges with the parties because there's Democrat and Republican lines, and they would have to figure out if that's a state issue, a city issue. But it's definitely something to look at, how there be more voter participation on the selection. Right now, it's just the borough president's office.
But the reason I'm just saying, because if my community board member is representing my issues, because we're going to talk about some issues, and that's why I'm bringing it up. So if I don't send the right person to represent me in the community board, then I'm not getting a representation, because borough president doesn't know what is my need or this neighborhood need, even though within the community board is a small neighborhood. Every neighborhood has a different issue, different problem. Maybe we want somebody to talk about this noise here, or there's a street problem there, or something else, park issue there. How the borough president knows? No. But if I don't send the right person to the board, I'm not getting any service from the board.
That's why also the council member has 25 members. The borough president and the council member's office, they do a good job, and they should know what are the needs are in the district. But you're right, I think more of a local approach, so maybe the members of our community can have more of a say who are board members. That's not a bad thing. And our council member who is local, yeah, and our council member who is local has a say who board members are as well. But your district manager is important too. I've been there a long time, and I work with the community board members on their vision. I inform them what are the issues are in the district, what I have experienced before they became a board member.
So how the district manager gets selected?
Board members are not paid. They're on salary. They don't get paid. So, and they work, most of the time they work during the day. So they're not expected to do day-to-day operations of the board. So the community board elects a district manager. They appoint a district manager to run the day-to-day operations Monday through Friday, and they run the office. And I have to carry the football. I have to carry their vision to what they want. And then the district manager hires the staff. And then I answer to the board members, but I mostly answer to the chairperson and the executive committee. So all the board members, I think we have 37 now, they elect the chairperson and an executive committee, and they run the board with, and I meet with them.
So they elect you, or they kind of approve you? I mean, not
well,
you.
It's, I mean, it's a voting process. So it's an internal election.
But you have a salary, and it's a voting process.
Correct.
Okay, and do you have a say who's going to be board member also, or no?
No, I don't have a say. Neither do the board members. Board members are strictly appointed by the council member and their borough president.
Right. Now, like I bring in my agenda a few things, and one of the few things we have right now in the community that recently the crime is going up, and the street crime mostly. And since the George Floyd issue, even NYPD acknowledged there's a crime is going up. Subway, we don't have things. So I'm not going to talk about the city level. I want to talk about recently we have a few incidents, and the Vice Chair Majumdar is supposed to join us. He might tell us, because they actually 2 days ago, there is a kind of virtual meeting was done by 43rd Precinct.
Yeah, I was on that meeting.
So what is the Community Board 9 is doing? What is the Community Board, what kind of role they play, maintain those street crime control or maintain, I should say?
We don't have so much of a direct influence on crime, because that's the NYPD, but we worked hand in hand. We have a public safety committee, which we meet every month, and we talk about crime. And also I have a district service cabinet meeting where I meet with the commanding officer every month. We have NCO officers, but we have a great relationship with our police, with our local precinct, and their success is our success. So we're kind of like their eyes and ears. If there's an issue from as little as loud music, people in the park overnight, people leaving a car overnight with no plates, abandoned vehicles, We take that information, we database it, and we send it to the police, and we follow up. In terms of the larger scale crime, or the crime that people always hear about, which is the shootings or grand larcenies or some type of robberies, that crime we talk about, and we think about how we could effectively reduce that crime through policy, through talking to our elected officials, if it involves youth or younger person, what services could we promote for youth, how to prevent the crime, and also the awareness. So we're a recommendational body. I monitor city services. All the agencies in my district, from fire, police, EMS, we all monitor that. And I meet with all the local chiefs, Department of Transportation, Sanitation, and the police. So we're always having a conversation how to make our streets better. But ultimately, the NYPD's job, and we have to make sure that the NYPD needs the resources and the policy and the support to do that job. Right now in our district, crime is not relatively high like other parts of the city, but right now we're up in, I think, grand larceny and robberies. Cell phones are worth more than $1,000, so it's automatically a grand larceny. So we work with the crime prevention officer to make sure people keep their cell phones in the pocket. If they're on the train, don't have it on your phone like this, somebody could grab your cell phone, those tips and things like that. But it's a difficult time. It's a difficult time for policing, and a difficult time for community policing in certain areas in the city. But fortunately here, we have a great relationship. We have a great commanding officer, 𝐷𝐨 Ramsey. And I was on that call a couple of days ago in the Bangladesh community. It was a good call, and we should have more like that.
I missed it. I was supposed to, but I was invited, but anyway. Yeah, I think we should have a more close communication with this. So how the board functioning during this pandemic? I know everything is kind of frozen, and a lot of the service, everything downside. But same time, this is the most important time. People need your service. Like few things we just mentioned, that you are eyes and ears. How are you doing during the pandemic? Is the board is somehow active?
It's been difficult. The city has, since we are a city agency, we operate under the city guidelines. They told us to close our office. So since March, our office has been closed to the public. You can't walk in. But we have been in the office in and out as staff members, virtually working at home, working in Zoom, what they call Zoom or WebEx, and working in the office a couple of weeks. Anybody in the community could reach us out an email on our Facebook, Bronx Community Board 9, our Twitter, Bronx Community Board 9. They could call and leave a message. But we have been doing a lot. Even though our office is closed, we have founded Rap for Bronx together with York Film Studios and other groups, and we give thousands of pounds of food every week since March. I think over 80,000 meals in total. We've been working with our local pantries, our local family shelters, and I know you have bringing up shelters, which is a good topic. So we have been helping seniors. We've been helping people. We've been helping people in our NYCHA houses. So we've been very active, very, very active in food and produce delivery and COVID relief with masks and hand sanitizers. So any question that anybody has watching this, or any viewers could ask our office, and we don't know the answer, we'll point you in the right direction and try to get you some help.
So you're saying you guys have some kind of hotline or telephone line is still always open, even during the pandemic?
You leave a message, we'll call you. It's 718-823-3034.
Very good, thank you. Speaking of shelter, of course, let's because we have a virtual guest on the line. Before I go to him, how many shelter we have? I want you to tell me in our community board 9 or the shelter district 11, I believe, whatever. How many we have?
Right now we have about 5 family shelters and about I think 2 adult male shelters. They have been going down, and we have something called cluster sites as well. We had 23 cluster sites. They should be closed down now. Cluster sites is something in the prior administrations where the city was renting apartments from buildings and housing to put individuals from the shelter system. That's something in de Blasio's plan for homelessness, to eliminate that and build facilities. So our cluster sites are almost to zero.
Can you define? I don't understand. Cluster site.
They call cluster sites is basically an apartment. So it's and they also had hotels, which we don't have any now anymore. So it will be an apartment that the city would rent out. So they would pay a homeowner or a landlord. They would rent apartments and then put people in from the house.
Who owned the apartment? City or the private owner?
It can be anyone.
Okay. So it's like a Section 8 type.
Well, something like that.
Section 8.
But that has been eliminated. We don't have any more of those. So, but all those people, the clients, would have to go into a facility or back into a home or affordable housing. So that's why we're seeing these facilities. And one was very controversial that opened in Parkchester, I believe last year or the year before, a year and a half ago, in 2008 Westchester Avenue, which was a proposed adult shelter.
This is considered adult, single adult.
Single adult shelter, which we were against, and we wrote a letter. We wrote an open letter to the mayor with our concerns that that's not a need. The need is families. If you look at the numbers, most of the people, a good majority of the people from our district who are on the shelter system are families. And that's something that we said we needed there instead of an adult male shelter.
So, do you saying that the total shelter number is reduced over back from last 10 or 5 years?
Cluster sites.
Yeah. Okay.
Cluster sites almost down to zero.
The reason I was bringing it up because we have a lot of controversy this time. And what is the community board doing? Let's say tomorrow mayor bring another proposal for shelter coming, because if you compare this to the rest of the district in the Bronx, I'm sure we are most highly populated shelters district in here.
Our
district, one of the most, compared to there's other, you talk about Romney's or Riverdale or the other over here, Pelham Park.
The community boards that have the most shelters are mostly in the southwest part of the Bronx. We're kind of like in the middle. There's other boards that have one shelter or two shelters or three shelters. And that's something we advocated for fair share. And the Bronx holds the brunt. The Bronx as a borough holds more than 30% of the shelters in the city, which is not really fair.
That's also not fair. So as a community board, are you on top of that we want to fight for fair share and we don't want to
of course.
load our community?
Because
our neighborhood, we want to have, healthy neighborhood.
No, you're exactly right.
I mean, we don't want any. It's not that I have against the home shelter because we like it. But anyway, before we go to break, we want to invite. Here I have on the line. If you want to connect, this one is the dear viewers. Please welcome Dr. Mutar Ahmed. He's a urologist. We're going to get some update from Dr. Mutar Ahmed, MD, about our new vaccine that we have, Johnson & Johnson, come up today. And also we want to know about the new trend of the coronavirus, what is found in somewhere in our southern state. Please welcome Dr. Mutar Ahmed. Can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Yeah, so I was asking you, we want to know something about the Johnson & Johnson, how efficient it is. Do you prefer this over the Moderna's or other vaccines?
No, I think that's not the question we should be asking. It's that Johnson & Johnson, the way it was tested as a single dose, and the effectiveness, what we found in the United States was 72% of the people that were that prevented severe or moderate. So most of these people who got the vaccine, they only had mild disease. So 72% was reduction. And in South Africa, it showed only 54%. So basically this shows that the new variant that is being found in South Africa or in England, it may be a little bit less effective. However, it is a single dose. It can be stored in regular refrigerator up to 3 months. And when you're talking about virus, if you have a 72% effectiveness, that is considered to be very good, because the normal flu virus vaccine is only 40 to 50% effective. So I think it's still pretty good. And if we can get this kind of effectiveness, even if you look at South Africa variant, and if it is 56% effective, even in those cases, it's still very good. And the ease of giving. Now, this vaccine was not tested with a second dose. So you never know. Maybe if the second dose is given, it may be same effectiveness as the Pfizer vaccine or the Moderna vaccine. So the key important difference is that it is only single dose, and it can be stored at regular refrigerator, and it can be stored for up to 3 months.
So you're saying it may need second dose?
They did not test it as such, but in the future they are testing it with the second booster as well. So I'm saying that if it is given a second booster, you may get up to 95% effectiveness,
Now,
just like the other ones.
as a people, ordinary people, we have a choice, like which vaccine I should take, or that's already decided by the provider.
No, this is the choice, is the availability. So right now you have the Moderna and you have the Pfizer. However, those are in short supply. But this Johnson and Johnson, I think it may be available in March because the FDA will give an emergency approval hopefully next month. And if it is available in March, you have another, vaccine supplier, and that will make the vaccination process easier because you'll have a lot more vaccine available, as opposed to right now, which the Pfizer and the Moderna are not able to keep up with the demand.
Yeah,
Because don't forget, we're talking about billions of people around the world. We American always think that we should get it first, right? And unfortunately, there's not enough supply.
Now-
and for various reasons, for maybe the previous administration was not as on top of it as it should have. But we have a new administration. Hopefully, things gets better.
Hopeful. But what is the plan for Biden administration? They're saying million dose for 1 million day per day, for 100 million for 100 day is not enough to reach the goal.
No, I mean, when we had the vaccine available, people were getting up to about 900,000 a day. So going to 1 million a day is not impossible, but I think the target, he's saying that number, but I think the target he is hoping for is about 1.5 million vaccine per day. I think that will be really.
We're going to take a break. Before you go, what is you want to say about the new trend of COVID we found in America? I think in Carolina or somewhere.
Yes. So, a virus can mutate. This is something we know about virus. It's fortunately that COVID is not mutating as fast as some of the other virus mutate. However, it is about to happen, and it has happened, like South Africa variant. But even with this variation, I think the vaccine world can keep up with it. If you don't get 90%, you get 80%. You don't have like this Johnson and Johnson, just an example, that in 28 days of getting the vaccine, up to 82% of the people avoided getting severe disease. And in 41 days, up to basically 0% had severe disease. So even if you get the disease, but it can be moderated to less severity, I think this is the goal, And
thank you, Doctor.
But the one little thing, the bottom line, the COVID will not go away, I think, in next 5-6 years. We'll have to live with it just like a flu. However, long as we can mitigate the death and suffering, that will be the key,
Thank you, Dr. Mutair Ahmed, for your time, and inshallah we'll check on you in the coming days again. And we're going to take a short break. Thank you for your word. Dear viewers, you're watching Friday Night Real Talk, our 18th episode, and we have a guest here from Community Board 9, District Manager William Rivera. And right after the break, we come back and we talk more. Please stay tuned.
আপনি কি বয়স্ক পিতামাতা ও গুরুজনদের দৈনিক সেবা নিয়ে চিন্তিত? ভাববার কোনো কারণ নেই। সিনিয়র মাল্টি সার্ভিস ইনক আপনাকে দেবে বয়স্ক সেবার সকল সমাধান। আপনি কি বয়স্কদের সেবা করছেন? তাহলে আপনার সময়ের মূল্য হবে উপযুক্ত পারিশ্রমিক। এসএমএস ইনক স্বল্প মূল্যে বাড়ির দৈনিক কাজকর্মে যে কোনো ধরনের বয়স্ক সেবা দিতে সদা প্রস্তুত। নিউ ইয়র্ক স্টেটের বয়স্ক ও অক্ষম বাসিন্দাদের আস্থা এসএমএস ইনক এর পূর্ণ ব্যবস্থা। বিস্তারিত জানতে কল করুন 3477785252।
My name is Mohammed Majumdar. Since 1989, I have been living in Parkchester. I have spent the last 30 years in the community organizing and helping my district because the actual people in the community need a voice. I want to continue build the Bronx. I cannot build alone. So in June 2021, I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Majumdar for the Bronx.
সিটির হেলথ ডিপার্টমেন্টের পূর্ণ মানদণ্ডে তরতাজা ও ঐতিহ্যবাহী সুস্বাদু খাবারে রয়েছে ব্যাং ব্যাং শ্রিম্প, ডাম্পলিং, স্যালমন স্টেক, রকমারি বিরিয়ানি এবং চিকেন ললিপপের মতো বাহারি খাবার। আমরা উবার ইটস, ডোরড্যাশ আর গ্রাবহাবের মাধ্যমে খাবার ডেলিভারি করে থাকি।
এই করোনা মহামারীতে ঘরে বসে নিশ্চিন্তে অর্ডার করুন www.halalfresh.nyc।
হালাল ফ্রেশ প্রিমিয়াম চাইনিজ কিচেন, 2241D ওয়েস্টচেস্টার অ্যাভিনিউ, ব্রঙ্কস, নিউ ইয়র্ক 10462।
হালাল ফ্রেশ, আস্থা রাখুন, আমরা আছি আপনাদের সাথে।
Back soon. Hello? হ্যাঁ, মজুমদারকে বলেন। Hello, dear viewers. Please welcome back our 18th episode of Friday Night Real Talk. Before you go to break, we were talking to Dr. Mutahar Ahmed. He gave us some update about the vaccination for Johnson & Johnson. And in the studio, we have here Mr. William Rivera. He's a district manager from Community Board 9. And we shortly going to virtually also get connected with Mohammed N. Majumdar. He's the first chair for Community Board 9. And before you go to break, we actually were talking about the homeless situation in our community and shelter. We know we're talking about that. We have a fairly high homeless shelter here, and we're trying to try to maintain it or eliminate it even less, so this way everybody have a fair share. Now, Mr. William Rivera, I just want to talk about a little bit in your district. We have a lot of Bangladeshi community, and we also looking lately the rise of the domestic violence. And a lot of cases happening. I'm sure it's happening throughout the district. How the community board involved, or they have any kind of resource or help or outreach to help the family who's getting a victim? Because I have a report, in our community, a lot of people move to the shelter as a result of the domestic violence. Do you have any data or information on this? How this works?
Anyone who's a victim or needs information of domestic violence can reach out to our office, and we can point them in the right direction, including we have domestic violence officers at the 43rd Precinct. We have resources in the Department of Homeless Services for people who want to seek shelter. We actually have a shelter in the district for single mothers who are, some of them the victims of domestic violence with their child. So we directly don't have that resource because we don't have the funding for it, and it's not really our role or job, but it's our job to make sure the services are known to the residents who need that information. And that could be, again, calling our number, emailing us, our Facebook, our Twitter. We work with numerous groups throughout the Bronx who help victims of domestic violence. There's also a domestic violence month where we partake and we sponsor some events. So we're very involved. It's very important, and it could be very sad. It's a very sensitive situation, male and females, but we're very aware of it, and our board members are very aware of it.
So is the community board play any role to help people before this happen or elimination? It's not just I'm not talking about after this happened and somebody call his help. That's one thing. But what about like before? Is anything can be done?
Yeah, there's like I said before, there's a domestic violence month that we work with groups, and we get the prevention out there. We wear the color purple. There's sometimes I myself purchase items to do fundraising for these groups and that really go out there for prevention and counseling, like you said, to prevent domestic violence. So we also look into prevention, and we look into seeking for help for victims.
All right, so let's go talk about some bigger issue now. Now I know the community board have something called long-term project. The community board have a lot to say with a lot of project-wise. The development of the physical development of the community. Somewhere it could be park or the road or whatever. So there's such a thing called the long-term project. And I'm sure our community board 9 have such a project. Can you explain, and also what other recent thing happening in our community where community board involved, such as I know there's a Parkchester station have a beautification going on. Also, we've been waiting for elevator for a long time. But what are explain us what is the long-term project you have and what to accept in coming days?
You must have been looking at our website. That's on our website. I'm glad you looked.
Well,
on that.
I don't come here without doing research.
I'm proud of you. That's good. A lot of people look. The long-term planning project is something we did a couple of years ago with the capstone project at NYU. So we don't have a lot of resources in the community board. So I like to bring in resources through universities, through groups in colleges. And we had some planners look into soft spots. We looked at areas in the district where we could see smart development, engage with the community. So we did vision sessions throughout the district where public members, residents will come and do these tabletop exercises and really give input on what they want to see in the district. If it's they want to see a green market, if they want to see a playground, or if they want to see something, some type of more senior housing, affordable housing, or what they don't want to see. We got all that information and we gave it to city planning. And some of the things that came up from that was where the Metro North train station is coming in Parkchester. There's a corridor there that's underutilized on East Tremont Avenue, where there's a car wash there. All that property, we're looking at doing residential.
Tell me that this is very important. I want you to stress on this, but before you go, I want to take one call. Just don't forget the train station, very important. Please, caller, আপনি কি আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
জি, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
হ্যাঁ, প্লিজ কোশ্চেন করবেন, আপনার নামটা বলে।
আমি নজরুল ইসলাম পাকচেস্টার থেকে বলছি। আমাদের প্রশ্ন হইছে যে কমিউনিটি বোর্ডের মধ্যে যে আমাদের বাঙালি যে আমাদের কমিউনিটি আছে যে তারা কি কি সুবিধা পেতে পারে কমিউনিটি বোর্ডের মাধ্যমে?
থ্যাংক ইউ। আপনি আমাদের শো দেখতেই থাকুন, এটাই নিয়ে আমরা আলোচনা করছি। সো হি ওয়াজ আস্কিং দ্যাট he is part of the Bangladeshi community. Obviously, he is talking Bangla. The community board, what kind of service he should get from the community board, he asked. So, I mean, we've been talking very much same thing. So, you can, whatever you want to say to him, yeah, he hung up. But he's watching.
Think of us as like an extension to 311. So, if he uses or somebody uses 311, they could follow up with us. And
he's focusing mostly as a Bangladeshi community.
Oh, okay.
So he's trying to stress it out. So
the same issues the Bangladesh community we have throughout the district, in terms of they have some crime-related issues, if they want to speed hump somewhere because the car is going fast, they have a traffic light, a stop sign, all these issues that are generic throughout the district, please contact our office. Specifically in the Bangladesh community, we defer people with immigration issues to certain other offices. We get some of that immigration questions we get from the Bangladesh community, but any issue, regardless of the
I'm going to help him out. I know we have important talk, but before we go there, as a Bangladeshi community, because I'm happen to be Bangladeshi community and I live here 30 years, we find some hardship from not necessarily community board, but we've seen that we love to do a lot of street fair. But when it's time comes to street fair, we see a little resistance there. in our mosques, we like to do a little event outside, mostly in the Eid time. We also, it's not necessarily community board, but they play a role, sometimes 43rd prison. And in the other hand, we see the different community. If I go to Astoria, the Greek community, they're doing their festival in the busy street. And I don't know how they get permit, but we Bangladeshi community do have an issue to get the permit. And that's not necessarily 43rd prison, it's lot to do, no, not necessarily the community board, lot to do with the 43rd prison. And I want you to make a note that we do have some resistance there. We're not getting, we like to do events in community. We are people of festivity. We like the festivity and we like to do it. I know sometimes we do a little too much, but we want as much as cooperation from board. I'm sure that's what you're asking for. Another thing before I forget, we have a lot of mosques in this community. And some of these mosques, they like to call azan. And we want full cooperation from Community Board CV9, because at least one time if you can call azan, is a pleasure. So those are the things probably you can make it on. But now you want to say something on this, so I can move another.
Well, that's a great. I'm very aware of the first question or the first topic you brought up had to do with street fairs. That's the street activity permit. We have a say in the precinct, but the precinct has the last say, the NYPD.
I know that. That's
something I would like to do is I would love to do a street fair on Starling Avenue. That hasn't been done in a long time.
No, they block it.
That's the precinct. So I really would like to do that, COVID, but maybe the year after. I would really like to get the businesses together. I've always been advocating for that. We should have a street fair on Starling Avenue in the Bangladesh community. And the precinct does have the last say. But we have a good commanding officer, and maybe we can make that better. And the call for prayer, is that what you're referring to? That's something that I want to take to our council member or the next council member to amend the code, just like to have chimes and bells for churches, to include the call of prayer. But it would have to fall under local law 13, that it can't be as, there's decibels, it can only be so loud. But it's not included now in the regulations, so it should be. A church could have bells or chimes,
yes,
or any other religious institute. So
and decibel can be worked out.
I think that's something that should be amended, and we could recommend that. We can do that. It would have to be the city council.
We need.
But that, me personally, as a district manager, I will speak to this council member or the next council member.
What is this caller was saying, that what kind of help and support we can get for the community board, and this is something definitely that we can get your support. Sure, we should be. Mujibur should be joining us. So going back to this train station on Tremont Avenue, please go ahead.
So the Metro North train station will be a game changer for Parkchester. It will bring us to Parkchester almost half the time.
When is going to happen?
Right now, maybe 2024, 2025. Funding still, what I was told, Phil. We have to give a lot of credit to the governor and the Bronx Borough president for making sure that funding is there, and all the elected officials who are involved to make sure that funding stood for us, to make sure we get that train station. Not only in Parkchester, you have Hunts Point, Co-op City, other areas. It's actually Parkchester Van Ness train station. And that train station will be a game changer. And that corridor right on East Tremont, we're looking to change it and making sure there's more home ownership and more buildings, more residential buildings.
So let me repeat yourself. We can accept the Parkchester people by 24, a Metro North station right in the center of the Parkchester. That's a great news.
2024, 2025.
That's a great news.
And for the Parkchester train station we have now, which is the 6th line, if you notice, there's construction that's going around the park. Our office and myself really worked hard on getting Mariola funding, $10 million, our office secured, to renovate Hugh Grant Circle in Virginia Park. It's going to look like Union Square. It's going to look beautiful with stone floors. You can see it. We'll have a grand opening. We'll be on the news. I'm very proud of that our board was able to get $10 million to renovate the park around Parkchester. And then also, as you know, with the mayor's capital new plan for the MTA, they are including funding for a Parkchester elevator at Parkchester, which is something we've been fighting for a long time, maybe more than 10 years. Yeah. So we will have an elevator in Parkchester. We will have the Metro North train station. We'll have a beautiful park, brand new park in Virginia Avenue Park around the Parkchester
when
train
this
station.
plan was originally started, we have a community delegation from Bangladesh community was there. We went there in circle, give us some ideas, and we also throw the ideas that we want to put our monument for represent our community,
Mother Day language.
So Mother Day language, and there was there. I don't know if it is involved or not, so I want to get your attention on that. Is a little one corner to place a little, just a structure, little small structure, nothing crazy, it's very nice looking, good, that represent the heart of all Bangladeshi people.
You know all the issues that go on in my district. You should be my assistant district manager in the Parkchester community.
Well, this is
There's a lot of great
your
questions.
issue. This is my community issue as well.
So I'm very familiar with that initiative. The issue is the park is a public property, and there's a lot of guidelines that we went through in the Parks Committee with the Parks Department. They have temporary monuments and permanent. And now the park is closed because of renovation, but when the park is finished, I think we could get a temporary monument for Mother Day language, which is a UN resolution, which is it's official. And I think we can at least get that. And then
What is the definition of temporary monument? And it's
up
how
to
long?
1 year. It's up to 1 year. I don't know the exact details. I don't know if it's a permanent structure, but it's a temporary permit for 1 year to have some type of cultural artwork. And I think that would
And
work.
what is we have
And then
is this is a cultural artwork.
For permanent, that would have to go through the city process and land use, and that's something that we will probably get together and do a report, send it to the city, and this is something that we want. In the meantime, we could identify private properties. Our first Vice Chair, Muhammad Majunda, is someone who brought this to our board several times. But I think we're safe to say once that park opens, we could apply for a temporary monument for the Mother Day language. I seen what they did in New Jersey.
Why not? I
It's
mean, once
beautiful.
you finish, it's going to be hard. Why not? You can, in the process of this, I mean, while it's doing the project, it will be not easy if it's become a part of the project. So they're already located in the proper.
We could apply now. It's separate because what they're doing now is construction and capital. What the people who are there now in the process has to do with building the park. The temporary cultural monument would be a separate application process that we could actually start next month because this park is set to finish this year.
So that's the good news. I mean, you give us a few good news and mostly trained. What else? What else? Anything that our viewers or our community people need to know as far as your future project?
Well, right now we have already a ferry in the district. It's the only ferry from the Bronx that goes into the city.
Is it part of our district?
Yes, it's at the end of Classens Point.
I have used this ferry multiple times with my family. It's the best thing.
It's a really good amenity to the district. I'm very excited. I hope we could get it to LaGuardia Airport, something that we're pushing for. If we could get the ferry to LaGuardia Airport, we have a lot of workers in the district and a lot of people who use LaGuardia Airport. They wouldn't have to take the train to the bus. We also have York Film Studios in the district. It's the largest film studio on the East Coast, right here in Story on Bronx River Avenue. York Film Studios. They're finishing their first phase. They have a second phase. They have been great in the community. We have, mentioned the Metro North train station. On the borderline of the district where the old Whitestone movie theaters were, is a e-commerce.
What's going on there?
That's going to be an e-commerce distribution center. So anyone who does e-commerce or online commerce could rent for distribution, kind of like Amazon, but it could be any other online source. That's going to create a lot of jobs.
Like your storage will be there?
Yeah, so if you sold laptops, you will store them there. As people order them online, you can ship them from there. Amazon is in our district. I haven't met with them yet. They're on Bronx River Avenue in Bruckner. They took over the old Jet.com center. I'm thinking it's 300 jobs around there that they're looking to bring in. It's a small distribution center. I don't have that much information. They just moved in. Our new assembly member, Kenneth Burgos, is in touch with them, and I'll be working together with him to see how Amazon is going to work with the community.
What else next to the ferry is supposed to come? Is there another studio or something?
That was supposed to be a marina restaurant. After Hurricane Sandy, the marina was scratched off.
Okay.
And right now they were focusing on a restaurant that is Parks Department city property. To my knowledge, that deal has fallen through, and there might be another RFP, which is just a process of proposals to see what they would build there. We're closely looking at that. That's the Shore Haven communities there.
Any modification around the Soundview Park?
Soundview Park is one of the biggest parks we have in the Bronx, maybe the second or third. It has a lot of amenities. A lot of money has put into Soundview Park. We have a brand new basketball court, playground there. We have a park house. We're looking at maybe doing a skate park where the old hockey rink is. There is a dog run that helped with the borough president's office. It's used a lot. There's a bike path in the back. Emergency call boxes have just been put up. They're blue. God forbid it's an emergency, you can press a button. So it's something that we're looking at as well.
That's a lot of good news. I mean, I appreciate you Mr. Rivera, we're gonna continue. We almost end of the show, but we're gonna come up with this. But let me welcome. Please welcome Muhammad N. Majumdar. He's also a first chair for Community Board 9, and he's also a candidate for 2021 City Council 18. Please welcome Muhammad N. Majumdar. আপনি কি আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
জি শুনতে পাচ্ছি নজরুল ভাই, আপনি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
প্লিজ আপনাকে আমি ভালো করে দেখতে পাচ্ছি না, আপনার ক্যামেরাটা একটু ফিক্স করতে হবে, আপনার মাথাটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না।
এখন দেখছেন?
Thank you. We talking about, just to give you a heads up, I know there's a lot of cover, but we talk about a lot of our Community Board 9. I don't know if you have seen some of them. So before you go to other things, the only thing I want to ask you, because you serve a Community Board 9, and we have a district manager here. We have one caller who asks what our community can accept from the Community Board 9. So if you can explain us a little bit, as your experience as a chairman and also as a board member, what is your so far achievement as a Community Board 9 for our mostly the Bangladeshi community, and what we're looking forward in the future, what we can accept from this Community Board in coming days?
Thank you, Nazul bhai. So we have a couple of problems here. Community board is advisory. The community board really does not have much power according to this city charter. City charter means city constitution did not give us a lot of authority. We just advisory. What happens, whatever decision we make, it is up to the borough president or up to the city council to accept it or not. So that's one barrier. So another barrier is like you was talking about the monument. I've been advocating with you, with your help, with the BSEC, and William have been trying to help, but that has to go different layers of approval. You know, borough board, then you have a citywide park. So and then finally city council approval in order to put a permanent monument. So I did a lot of research, and you can see it's almost impossible unless a city council member himself or herself take huge interest and introduce a legislation to do so. So as of today, we do not have that level of voice. You know, the city council member that we have been having is either inactive or did not know our community need. We never see a town hall meeting. We never see a community assessment meeting. We never see a good amount of town hall meeting about the people's concern. City council member join the city council session and express their opinion. I don't know what is their basis to express their opinion or introduce the legislation, but I never seen last 30 years they have any meeting to find out from the rank and file, from the general people, what is our need. So at the community board, we did a lot of reform. Like William explained to you, he's very passionate, very articulate, and try to do a lot of good things. Like I said before, it's not easy. In the board doesn't have a absolute power for anything. We are like an advisory. They never listen to us. So look at this shelter issue. We are not against the shelter issue. They're disproportionately allocated. They choose the wrong venue, wrong place. Never ask the people. Forget about community board. They should come to the community and talk to the community instead of starting the project, confirm the project. Then you came to the church, St. Helena Church. You are not asking the people. You're telling the people, look, I did the shelter for you. Here it is. So that's not how the public opinion. So I'm very upset. This is part of the reason I'm running for city council. We need a fresh voice. We need a fresh start. We need people from the community who understand the community's need.
ধন্যবাদ। আমি শহর একদম প্রথমেই মিস্টার রিভেরাকে একটা কোয়েশ্চন করেছিলাম, যেটা এখন আপনাকে করব। I should speak English. So at the beginning of the show, I asked him, Mr. Rivera, about the process of how we get the community board member. And he really explained me the process. I'm sure you know that. But my question is that I asked him before, I want to ask you again, and especially when you mentioned that you're going to running for city council. So if you elect the city council, are you going, is it possible that you can bring a legislation where you can introduce that I should be send my two representative to the community board. The way the process work right now is a selection by the board president and city council. Can you propose, or do you think is it justified that find another way to select our community member, and it could be many other process, including the through the ballot? Why not we, if board president, if you have 10 people he want to put in the community board, why can't he put them on the ballot at the beginning, and as a community member have opportunity to elect them? This way we know who is the true people going to the community board, and they can represent us betterly. What is your position on that? Do you think you can do
Sure,
anything if
community
you get
board
elected?
membership is open to all. They can go to the board office and website, fill in the form and apply. But Nuzul bhai, unfortunately, people do not apply. When they apply, they become a member. They do not actively participate or do not attend. So that's one problem. But no matter how many members you put in there, it doesn't matter. Board doesn't have a absolute authority to put a monument.
No, it's not about. It's not about how many members. It's the qualified member, because I want to send the right person to the right place.
Thank you. Yeah, right person. Also, like to answer your question, if I am elected, believe me, I will make sure we have a monument. I will make sure our discretionary fund goes to the people that deserve, the non-profit that deserve. I will make sure we have a town hall meeting at least once a month to listen to the people's concern, like we do in the community board. We did the need assessment. William Rivera or myself, if one of us is elected, believe me, we have the same view. We'll do the same thing. So I'm asking my
No, but again,
other community.
you're missing my point. We want to, as a community people, I want to send the people I like to the community board, and we, if you like a due process for that, beside selecting, do you support such a process?
Sure, 100%. The other day, Alauddin came in, I signed the command, William sent it to me.
Okay.
So William open to that. I'm always open, our board is open to that. But usually, you need to have a support for the city council member or one elected official.
Yeah, but if you get elected, if you guys get elected. So thank you for that, and thank you for time. We're already very end of the show. This is end of the show. So you heard what he just said about the monument and whatever. I want to tell you a final word for our viewers about your conclusion. What do you want to tell the community, mostly the Bengali people who's viewing this show?
We have the largest Bangladesh community in the Bronx, second largest in the city. A lot of culture, important language. I've been involved in the Bangladesh community for maybe 10 years, and I've seen it grow, and now I want it to go together with the rest of my community. What I probably would recommend, and maybe you can help me or your channel, I would like to do a virtual town hall meeting for the Bangladesh community with the community board. There's a lot of important questions here, but I'm sure there's a lot more, and we could work it out where we filter it, and I get to answer questions. I would like to do that.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, we're almost end of the show. We have a great show. I must say that. We have a district manager, William Rivera was here, and the first vice chair, Mohammed Majumdar, was here, and we cover a lot of things, and whatever we talk about, I cannot wrap it up in 1:30 seconds I have. I must say there's a good news. The last word, just Mr. Rivera said that we're going to have a virtual meeting for community board so we can talk to him more. He gave us a good news that we're going to have eventually, shortly, we're going to have a beautiful park around the Parkchester. We're going to have an elevator, and also the best news that I have today, by 2024, we're going to have a Metro North station right in the center of the Parkchester. That is a game changer, and that's a good news. And also, Mohammed Majumdar said if he run for election, he will have a legislation that where we can involve better way and send our representation to the community board, and where we can get more out of it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for calling, and stay tuned until next Friday. Good night.
I don't know what the fares are because I've never taken Uber before. But
যে আনএমপ্লয়েড ইন্স্যুরেন্স যা হচ্ছে ইয়েলো ট্যাক্সি ড্রাইভারকে
ক্যাব চালিয়ে যারা সফল হয়েছেন তাদের দুঃখ কষ্টের কথা শুনবো।
অনেকেই হয়তো দেশে যেয়ে বলতে চায় না যে আমি ইয়েলো ক্যাব চালাই, আসলে এটা বোকামি। উপার্জন হলে দেশে যে কোনো সময় যাওয়া যায়, কারো কাছে অনুমতি নিতে হয় না, আমি নিজেই বস।
ইমিগ্রেন্টে জোর করে এই বর্তমান প্রেসিডেন্ট নির্বাচনে তারা সবার আগে ফ্রন্ট লাইনে কাজ করছে।
সাদাকা ফাউন্ডেশন ইউএসএ মার্কিন যুক্তরাষ্ট্র ভিত্তিক সাহায্য সংস্থা, জাতি ধর্ম বর্ণ নির্বিশেষে বিপন্ন মানবতার পাশে সব সময়। করোনা মহামারীর এই দুর্যোগে 7 দিন 24 ঘন্টা আপনার পাশে আছে সাদাকা ফাউন্ডেশন। আপনিও সাথে থাকুন। হটলাইন নাম্বার 7182009222।
I don't know what the fares are because I've never taken Uber before. But
যে আনএমপ্লয়েড ইন্স্যুরেন্স যা হচ্ছে ইয়েলো ট্যাক্সি ড্রাইভারকে
ক্যাব চালিয়ে যারা সফল হয়েছেন তাদের দুঃখ কষ্টের কথা শুনবো।
অনেকেই হয়তো দেশে যেয়ে বলতে চায় না যে আমি ইয়েলো ক্যাব চালাই, আসলে এটা বোকামি। উপার্জন হলে দেশে যে কোনো সময় যাওয়া যায়, কারো কাছে অনুমতি নিতে হয় না, আমি নিজেই বস।
ইমিগ্রেন্টে জোর করে এই বর্তমান প্রেসিডেন্ট নির্বাচনে তারা সবার আগে ফ্রন্ট লাইনে কাজ করছে।
Let's say someone calls and says he's from the IRS. He says you owe taxes and need to pay right away by getting a gift card at the store. Should you do it? No. It's a scam. Government agencies will never make you pay with a gift card. Now let's say the caller claims to be from a tech support company. He says he needs to fix a problem with your computer after you pay him with a gift card. Should you? No. That's a scam too. Real tech support companies don't work like that or make you pay with a gift card. What if you get a call from someone who says she's a relative or friend and needs money right now? She begs you to go buy her a gift card. Should you do it? No, that's also a scam. Gift cards wouldn't help real family members or friends in a real emergency. Gift cards are for gifts, not for payments. Anyone who tells you to pay with a gift card is a scammer. And once you've shared the gift card number and PIN, your money is probably gone. So what do? If you have paid with a gift card, contact the company that issued the card right away, and then tell the FTC. Reporting to the company and the FTC helps us fight these scams. If you lost money in this or any other scam, also file a police report with your local precinct. A message from the NYPD Crime Prevention Division and the Federal Trade Commission. Go to ftc.gov/giftcards to learn more about how to protect yourself and others.
আপনি কি বয়স্ক পিতামাতা ও গুরুজনদের দৈনিক সেবা নিয়ে চিন্তিত? ভাববার কোনো কারণ নেই। সিনিয়র মাল্টি সার্ভিস ইঙ্ক আপনাকে দেবে বয়স্ক সেবার সকল সমাধান। আপনি কি বয়স্কদের সেবা করছেন? তাহলে আপনার সময়ের মূল্য হবে উপযুক্ত পারিশ্রমিক। এসএমএস ইঙ্ক স্বল্প মূল্যে বাড়ির দৈনিক কাজকর্মে যে কোনো ধরনের বয়স্ক সেবা দিতে সদা প্রস্তুত। নিউ ইয়র্ক স্টেটের বয়স্ক ও অক্ষম বাসিন্দাদের আস্থা এসএমএস ইঙ্ক এর পূর্ণ ব্যবস্থা। বিস্তারিত জানতে কল করুন 347-778-5252।